Every video on YouTube that talks about putting $10,000 into income ETFs seems to fall into one of two camps. Camp 1 says dividends are basically useless, they give you next to nothing, you can't even pay for a cup of coffee with them. And Camp 2 says that dividends are magic, you can live the financial freedom life, you can afford your bills, quit your job. But they're both missing the point, and I'm going to show you why in this video. So I put $10,000 into several different income ETFs, and we're going to show you the real after-tax number that you would be looking at based on last month's real distribution. And we're going to throw a 25% tax rate on there too, so you can get a more realistic picture of what's going on. And the answer is definitely not what you think. So if you appreciate this type of content, be sure to subscribe on the way in, and let's get right into it. Let me show you the answer that most people give, because it's not wrong, it's just incomplete. And the standard math works like this. If you take 10,000 and you multiply it by your dividend yield, a 3% yield is going to give you $300 per year in annual income, which is about $25 per month. If you did the same thing on a 6% yield, you're looking at a $600 per year or $50 per month income. But that is all pre-tax. So we like to include the taxes here when we talk about these numbers, and that same $600 a year is more like $450 a year or $37 per month after you account for a 25% tax rate. And these yields, the 3% and the 6%, assume you're holding broad dividend ETFs like SCHD or VYM, but the income ETF space now has a completely different set of funds paying dramatically higher yields, and most people do not know the difference between the advertised yield, the headline yield, and what they're actually earning. So that last part is really what this video is about. Before I show you the real numbers, I need to talk about the yield trap that a lot of people fall into, because if you just searched the highest yielding ETFs and you buy whatever comes up based on those numbers, you're gonna have a very, very different result than what we're about to go over in this video. So the advertised yield on a lot of ETFs, they look incredible, 40, 60, 80, even 100, 130% advertised yield. But what most people don't know is that a huge chunk of what these funds pay every month isn't actually income. It's called return to capital, aka your own money being handed back to you. And when it's the destructive kind, the fund's NAV is quietly shrinking every single month while you're getting paid less and less in a lot of cases. So our true income yield strips out that return of capital, and it shows you what the fund is actually earned and distributed as real income. The difference between the advertised yield and the true income yield is the number that actually matters. And I'm going to show you a few examples on screen here. So we are on the Insights tab within YieldCanary, just to hammer this point home. And you could see this is the highest advertised yield funds list that we have. And you could see Grayscale's Ethereum covered call, for example, advertising a 116% yield with a 0% true income yield. Same with this Granite Shares fund, QBY, 105%, 0% true income yield. So the point here being, you could see the funds advertising over 100%, but the true income yield is 0%, meaning every dollar paid out is return of capital. There is no real income at all being generated by these funds. So an easy way to see healthy funds that are sorted on true income yield, and this is zoomed in, by the way. Normally the dashboard doesn't look this crammed, but if you filter for healthy and we sort on true income yield, what you will see here are healthy funds with a true income yield, meaning this is with the ROC removed. You can see that line right there. And we have funds like ARMW, AMDW, AMDY, TSMY, CHPY that we're going to talk about here next. So these are funds that are healthy and paying a very, very nice true income yield right now. We're on the portfolio tab here within YieldCanary, and I just wanted to show you one holding, which is CHPY. So we are going to enter this in and put 141 shares at 70.78, and we will just make this for yesterday and click add holdings. So this is $10,000 into CHPY, and you could see up top here estimated monthly income after tax of about $303 or just over $3,600 per year. And if you come down to the holdings, you can see the value of that a little over 10,000. True yield at 31.34%. And we have obviously a healthy Canary status on this. Just to summarize, $10,000 invested in CHPY is about $303 per month after tax based on last month's actual distribution. And this is of course a 25% tax rate. And we have CHPY at a 31.34% true income yield and a 10-year death clock. So this is not 50, it's not 37, this is $303 per month in after-tax income. Here's a list of a few other healthy funds and what they would be making if you invested $10,000 into them. So you could see we already talked about CHPY. Next on the list would be QQQI with a 13.76% true yield, which would be about $90 per month after tax. SOXY, about $83 per month after tax. SPY, $74 a month. JEPQ, $71 per month. GPIQ, $69 per month. QDVO at $67 per month. And finally, JEPY at about $51 per month. Now here's an important nuance. CHPY at $303 per month is carrying more risk than JEPY is at $51 per month. So the higher the income, the more you need to understand what is driving that income. And that's exactly where the health check and the true income yield come into play when you're evaluating an ETF, so you know exactly what you're holding before you buy it. So here's where we're at, the same $10,000, but very different results. On the left-hand side, the standard dividend ETFs, you're looking at $37 a month in a range from $16 to $50 per month before taxes. And on the right-hand side, the healthy ETFs that we are talking about in this video, anywhere from $51 to $303 per month after tax. All the funds are currently healthy, and this is based on last month's real distribution. So the lowest fund on our list still matches the best case scenario on the left-hand side. When you're evaluating an income ETF to invest in, I would check out these 4 things in order on the YieldCanary platform. First is the Canary status. Is it healthy? Does it pass the NAV erosion and sustainability checks? For example, if the Canary status is a severe risk, the high yield might not last. Second is the true income yield. What is the true income yield? Not the advertised number, not the headline yield, the real income after stripping out return of capital. Third is the return of capital. What is the ROC percentage? And is it the destructive kind or the tax efficient kind? Because there's a big difference between a fund with an 80% ROC that's eroding its NAV and a fund with an 80% ROC that carries the tax efficient badge in YieldCanary because it's a structured outcome of the option strategy. And finally is the death clock. So it says here it's the years before NAV erosion becomes critical at its current pace. More specifically, if everything remained constant, it's the years until 50% of the NAV would be eroded away. So you could think of it this way: if a fund is paying out more than it earns and slowly eating through its own NAV to do so, the death clock tells you how many years before the fund price has declined so far that the income it generates almost becomes meaningless. TSLY has a death clock of 0.6 years right now. Compare that to CHPY and SOXY, both have a 10-year death clock. So that gap tells you everything about which income is built to last and which isn't. These 4 data points tell you everything that the advertised yield and the headline yield do not tell you. So here's the real answer to how much dividend income you get on a $10,000 investment. It basically depends entirely on what funds you choose and whether you know what you're actually buying. The standard answer of $16 to $50 a month is what you get from broad dividend ETFs at a 2 to 6% distribution rate, and all of that is before taxes. The income ETFs that we talked about in this video range anywhere from $51 to $303 per month on an after-tax basis, and this is all from the same $10,000 investment. The difference is knowing where to look, what the health data actually says, and what the real after-tax number is looking like after stripping out return of capital, most importantly. If you want to check out any of the numbers in your own income portfolio, you could try YieldCanary for free, 7-day trial. Check it out today. The link will be in the pinned comment down below. Leave a comment down there while you're checking that out as well. Let me know what you think about the video, if you agree, if you disagree. And as always, we'll see you in the next video.